I am no longer a stranger to Dimas Senopati. You suggested I listen to his cover of Still Loving You by Scorpions, which I did. That was awesome. What a voice it was. That was my first and only time ever hearing him. So if you missed that one and want to see me experience Dimas for the first time, then make sure to check that out. In the comments on that video, I received quite a few recommendations for various other covers that he's done. I decided to go with Dream On by Aerosmith. That's just because it's a song I know kind of well. Just like with Still Loving You, this is an acoustic cover, as it says in the title. Dream On, iconic song. I can imagine Dimas singing it, that's for sure. It has that really famous section where a huge range is required. From what I've seen, Dimas has the range, so I'm excited for this one. Let's get straight into it.
Time that I look in the mirror, all these lines on my face getting clearer. The past is gone, it went by like dust to dawn. Isn't that the way everybody gotta do is in life to pay? Yeah, I know.
Oh, it's been a while since I've listened to Dimas. Over a month, actually, at the time of recording this right now. So it's really nice to hear him again. That rich vibrato of his. I love to hear some grit coming through in the sound as well.
Everybody gotta do is in life to pay.
And of course, the other dude setting the scene perfectly. Here with the pianist, it almost looks like he has horns coming out of him because of the position of the camera and him. I really like the setting of this one, just like I liked it with the previous video and what they did to create a scene, give it a bit of atmosphere in a really kind of simplistic setup. Firstly, the scene that we get, I mean, we've got death on the wall behind, something slightly foreboding, harrowing with, you know, the skull and the antlers, and of course, the top hat. Now, I would immediately think of steampunk, but I'm thinking, why would he be wearing a steampunk hat? If I recall correctly, Steven Tyler wears top hats sometimes. Maybe I'll find an image and put it on screen. I mentioned it's kind of a simplistic setup. The positioning of all of them, if we look where he is, just in front of the skull, and then same for the keyboardist, and then Dimas as well. The same. So, you know, they're filming these one by one. It's therefore impossible for them all to be in the same shot, which I think is really interesting. I wonder if that will change in the rest of the video. I don't think it will. And that might have actually been the case in Still Loving You, but if it was, I didn't mention it or maybe not even notice it. We'll carry on with the song in just a moment. I just want to quickly cover a couple of things to do with the music here. Why I think it's a great song and no doubt why they've chosen to do it. Let's be real, they've probably chosen to do it because they have Dimas who can sing this song. I'm really intrigued to see how he handles the super high bit later on. So let's just go back to the introduction, to the opening. They're in the same key as the original song. They're keeping most things really quite similar. One thing they have done with the introduction, it's ever so slightly more rhythmic than the original. What do I mean by that? Well, if we listen to the original, you can hear sustained chords in the background, in a synth most likely. Here, they don't have that. It's very much chun, 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 chun. I think this makes the harmony here a bit less obvious. Harmony is always easier to hear if you have notes sustaining. It's easier to hear than that type of thing. As someone who thinks harmony really is the most important thing when it comes to music, this is important because the introduction, I think why it's so famous is because of its dissonance. You know, it's not just regular chords. We get really interesting clashes in there. So the F and the C don't move. And we hear this chromatic line in the middle. chromaticism being super important, notes just moving down one by one, which creates kind of strange harmonies. Then just before we paused is a really intense part of the song, very suspenseful. We have rising chromatics, again, a common theme. Underneath, we have a static bass line, again, a common theme. So if one part is staying the same, the other parts are moving up, it will always cause dissonance naturally. The fact they're going up chromatically makes it even more dissonant. We have this starting chord. Notice how these parts never change, but then the others rise up chromatically. That's what makes it so tense. Dimas's really intense vibrato definitely adds to the overall dissonance.
What he gotta do is in life to pay.
Because he's flittering between two notes. That's what vibrato is essentially, right? So this song, the original, is so cool for many reasons, of course, but one of the main reasons, in my opinion, is all of this crazy harmony. Let's carry on with Dimas's performance here to see what they do with the rest of it.
Yeah, I know nobody knows where it comes and where it goes. I know it's everybody's sin. You got to lose to know how to win. Of my life's in books, written pages. Live and learn from fools and from sages. You know it's true. All the things come back to you. Sing with me, sing for the year, sing for the laughter, sing for the tears. Sing with me, but this for today. Maybe tomorrow the good Lord will take away.
Okay, little instrumental interlude. I really am enjoying the slight melodic adjustments he's doing.
All the things come back to you.
Just so accurate on the notes.
Come back to you.
Quite different to the original. Just before that as well, actually, on the slide up.
It's true.
Starts the slide earlier and then finishes on a lower note as well, so it stains it for longer. I don't know why, I was just expecting him to slide all the way through and through up until the top. A lot of men who, you know, with broken voices really struggle to do a slide from chest voice into the blended or head voice areas. There would be a crack, if I can try and demonstrate. You know, something like that. Obviously, that wouldn't happen with Dimas, so yeah, it would have been cool to see a huge slide, but again, it's something different to what I was expecting, therefore surprising, and therefore I like it. There's another one, and that leads into a nice little... The arrangement is reserved. When we get a guitar solo, it's not absolutely crazy. They're just keeping keyboard and guitar, you know, a couple of layers of guitar. This is an acoustic cover, as it says in the title, and just like with Still Loving You, I did kind of touch on that a little bit. I think acoustic, by its technical definition, this is not, because it uses electronic amplification. In Still Loving You, I said I think acoustic, when they say it, they mean more in like a genre of music, you know, something that just doesn't seem as electronic, maybe fewer parts, and there's no percussion being used yet. In the original, there is some, but it's very subtle.
Books, written pages.
But we don't get any here.
Come back to you. Sing with me, sing for the year.
Instead, to create a fuller sound, now we switch to the strummed chords in the guitar. Having percussion in there could detract from the acoustic feel, so I'm curious to see, will there be any percussion coming in later on? I doubt it, but you never know with these things. I've learned to kind of expect the unexpected. Otherwise, yeah, the arrangement, very similar to the original song, same key, everything. So not too much more to say. I do, though, want to quickly touch on something I didn't before, again, to do with the harmony. So earlier, I showed a clip of dissonance in the introduction. I then showed another clip of an example of dissonance on the piano. Just before that, though, there was actually something I want to quickly highlight.
Isn't that the way?
Did you hear that there?
Isn't that the way?
So what we're hearing is this in the bass, and then that in the guitar. And as you see on the screen, it says tritone. Tritone is famously known as the devil in music. Diabolus in musica is what it used to be called, because listen to it. But then there's also this in there. This real cacophony of noise, just temporary. And I'm thinking, oh, is that accidental?
Isn't that the way everybody gotta do?
But we get it there as well, very, very similar. So they're choosing to do this, to keep this in. This is only my second time hearing Dimas, and my hypothesis so far is that they don't shy away from the occasional real, you know, just like crunchy bit of clashes. My first video, Still Loving You, I pointed out the guitar tuning because it was creating similar effects here and there. Again, just really quite interesting. Okay, let's continue. We approach the very, very famous climactic moment. We can really hear those synthy strings that I pointed out in the original song right at the beginning. We're only starting them to hear them now in this acoustic cover. So they are, you know, kind of honoring it in a way.
Sing with me, sing for the year, sing for the laughter, sing for the tear. Sing with me, but this for today, maybe tomorrow the good Lord will take away. Until your dreams come true. Dream on.
Okay, we're approaching the climactic moment, so a very, very quick pause before we then carry on with it. That is also the part I'm most looking forward to seeing, so by doing a very quick pause now, it will be like delayed gratification for when we finally get to it. His voice is just so cool. I don't think I've spent enough time in this video kind of complimenting it.
Dream on, dream on, dream on, dreams.
The grit at the start of the phrase, choosing to keep this straight tone towards the end of the phrase, really nice touch.
Till your dreams come true.
Quite a different sound to when he's using the really rich vibrato, isn't it? There was another case as well of a super, super intense, almost accidental sounding dissonance clash. Listen out for it here.
Maybe this for today, maybe tomorrow.
You can hear that there?
Maybe tomorrow.
That really kind of makes you wince. You go, ooh. It's perhaps a bit less noticeable than usual just because of how much dissonance is in this song inherently in the original. But cases like that I think are very interesting when they include them. We've had 3 so far in this performance. All right, let's carry on. We're getting to the exciting bit. Oh, I hope he smashes it. I'm sure he will. What I'm wondering most is he going to sing it in full head voice, or is it going to be as much of a blend as possible? If we listen to the original, I can't play too much because of copyright.
Dream on, dream on, dream on.
That's not like a male soprano sound at all, is it? He's not using his full head voice. That's a little bit more heady. So yeah, I'm just wondering what Dimas is going to do here. If he tries to do it like that or does it like that, that will be a completely new side to him that I've not seen. I am going to give my guess, which I've learned is stupid because I'm always wrong, but I'm going to guess that he does it in more of a heady sound. I kind of want him to prove me wrong here.
Dream on, dream on, dream on, dreams until your dreams come true. Yeah. Dream on, dream on, dream on, dream on, dream on, dream on, dream on. Sing with me, sing for the year, sing for the laughter, sing for the tear. Sing with me, but this for today, maybe tomorrow the good Lord will take away. Sing with me, sing for the year, sing for the laughter, sing for the tear. Sing with me, but this for today, maybe tomorrow the good Lord will take away.
I'm liking Dimas Senopati. I'm liking him a lot. I love how simple their videos are. I'm talking like I know him. I've literally just seen 2 videos, but yeah, they've been so cool to see. Great songs as well. She seems to be choosing some bangers, you know, proper classics. And I think it's obligatory to just watch the cool bit again, right?
Dream on, dream on, dream on, dream on, dream on.
Really kind of heady sounds, but yeah, I mean, I was wrong. He really gets that grit in there. I'm using the word grit. I hope you kind of understand what I mean by that. And here I like how he came in under and then moved up after quite a significant delay, actually. It's probably half a second, but our brains work a million miles an hour. And when I was watching that, it seemed like a lifetime. He was on that lower note. Yeah, really cool video, wasn't it? Great choice of song to cover. Well, as usual, I have many questions. Do they usually stick quite closely to the original arrangement, or do they ever like to kind of go a bit off-piste, off-track? Let me know in the comments and give me recommendations if you want to see more Dimas on the channel. Let me know as well if you enjoyed these videos by giving it a like and commenting. Comments help. If you don't want to comment any words, then we'll go for an emoji. Today's emoji, one of them, like you see on the screen now. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.